chapter 1 in Embracing Your Inner Critic. If you don't know, there's a playlist, so you can click on the playlist and start from number 1, from the first part. So here we are at the very end, the home stretch, and these are the exercises that they are asking for us to do in this section. Getting to know your inner critic. 1. Turning in to station crazy. Over a 1 to 3 day period of time, pay attention to the critical things you say or feel about yourself. For example, you might be looking in the mirror as you do every morning, and suddenly you become aware of how much time you spend looking disapprovingly at your face. Notice what you don't like about it. Pay attention to the things you say or feel about yourself that you take for granted. I'm way too fat. I can't stand my hair. My nose is just too big. When someone says that they can't stand something about themselves, it is not the person who is speaking. It is the inner critic that is speaking. Later in the day, listen for your critic when you are driving your car, waiting for an appointment, going to bed at night, staying up during the night, or waking up in the morning. Your critic is there talking in your head all the time. Catch hold of it and listen to what it is saying. What does it think is wrong with you? What were the mistakes you made during the day? Where could you have done better? What have you overlooked? What should you have done differently? The things that make you dissatisfied with yourself reflect the judgments of your inner critic. We have found that many people have an easier time catching hold of the critic if they record its comments in a notebook. In this way, you begin to tune in to station crazy. Congratulations, it has been playing for years. You are now beginning to hear it clearly. 2. Compare your station crazy with others. Now compare notes with other people. What are some of the similarities and differences between the comments of your critic and the critics of other people? Talk to as many people as you possibly can, because comparing your inner critic to others begins to take the sting out of your own inner critic's comments, which, up until this time, have seemed accurate and specific to you alone. You will be surprised to find that others' critics tell them the same things that yours tells you. You can easily see the exaggeration and inaccuracies of other people's critics. This gives you additional power and objectivity. After all, you are not the only one who has these worries about yourself. In getting together with others and sharing your critics' comments, perhaps having a critic party, you have an opportunity to surprise one another in the process of separating from the inner critic. This can be much more fun than doing it alone. These sharings can even get hilarious, because critics do have a way of getting pretty outrageous. 3. What does your critic look like? Now that you have heard what your critic sounds like, we would like to see what it looks like. The following exercise gives you a way to objectify your inner critic, to make it concrete, and to start to see it as a physical reality outside of yourself. Take a piece of paper and draw a picture of your inner critic. If you prefer, make a clay model of it, or if you have no clay, perhaps you would like to use Play-Doh or some other material that appeals to you. Use your imagination and remember that this is not a test of your artistic ability. Relax and have fun. There are no rules. Some critics look like mothers or fathers or siblings. Some look like animals or dragons. Some look fierce, some do not. Some carry books in which to record your shortcomings. Each inner critic is unique. What does yours look like? Now, if it is appropriate to you, give it a name. You may find that this is the name of someone near and dear to you, whom your critic resembles, like one of your parents or a teacher. Or it may have a name that is all its own. Giving the critic a name is a future step in the process of making it more objective. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There's another 2 bullets for this, but many pages that go with it. So I'm going to stop there and continue reading tomorrow. One thing I'd like to say about this section is I did this exercise again where I defined what my inner critic looked like. And at first, when I first did this a few years ago and read this book, my inner critic looked like Nurse Cratchit, from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a very unforgiving, unsympathetic human being who was always cross and never kind. And now, when I think of my inner critic, I see her as Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies, just an old woman who wants the best for me and is loving but has a lot of opinions. It's easy to dismiss Granny and to be like, all right, Granny, thank you for the comments. I'll keep them in mind. It's such a different feeling now. It's like, all right, you're a part of me and that's fine because I know you love me. And maybe later on she'll change into something even more evolved and less horrible as Nurse Cratchit was. That's left to be seen. But for now, I am a lot happier with Granny than I was with Nurse Cratchit. Alright, so that's that for this section of Chapter 1. Please go to wonderfulhappyu.com where you can find this book all together in a blog series.